Happy 2021. Wow, if I look cold, I am cold. It's cold here. It doesn't get cold here often, but it is today. I haven't been here. I haven't done this for a couple of weeks because last week was New Year's Day, the week before was Christmas Day, so I took both days off. But I have been watching a lot of movies over the past couple of weeks. In fact, I wrote them all down because I thought I'm not going to remember them all off the top of my head. But this is even, these are ones that I've even written up. There's probably another list. Well, there is another list that's even twice as long as this one of movies that I haven't even written up yet, but I've watched. But if you want to read my reviews, go to my website, howard4film.com, howardforfilm.com, and you can read about them. So these are the ones that I've written up since I last did this little talk here. Falling, which was Viggo Mortensen's directorial debut. I'm not going to say whether I liked it or not. You have to go to the website and find out. Let Them All Talk. Oh yeah, that was Meryl Streep, Steven Soderbergh's film. Uncle Frank, which was Paul Bettany's new film. Wonder Woman 1984. Yeah. I didn't care for that film. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which I'm going to talk about. The 40-year-old version, not virgin, version, which I am going to talk about. Wolfwalkers, which I am going to talk about. Soul, which is the Disney Pixar new movie. Promising Young Woman, which I'm not going to talk about, but I did like. And Bloody Nose, Empty Pockets, which I watched the other day. And that's an interesting film. I'm not sure I liked it, but it was interesting. So instead, because I don't want to talk about 10 films and be here for 3 hours, I'll just talk about 3 films. And these are 3 films that I really enjoyed and may not get enough attention. So I want you to try to check them out if you haven't already. So the first is Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Now, unless you're, you know your American theater, you may not be familiar with August Wilson or his work for the stage. Yet 2 of his plays have received a Pulitzer Prize for Drama, and 2 others each won a Tony Award for Best Play. And Wilson was also inducted into the American Theater Hall of Fame in 2006, and sadly that was 1 year after he died at the age of 60. Died very young. But since his death, 2-time Oscar winner Denzel Washington has embarked on a mission to produce 9 of Wilson's plays for the screen. His first effort was Fences, which was released in 2016, and it garnered a whopping 56 awards, including a Best Actress Oscar for Viola Davis. Now, Washington and Davis have teamed up again, and this time for the screen adaptation of Wilson's acclaimed play, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. So they're trying for success again, and they might just do it actually. Now the story takes place in 1927. It's about a band of musicians who gather at a recording studio in Chicago, awaiting the arrival of their boss, the legendary female blues singer Ma Rainey, who really was a Ma Rainey. This is the story is fiction, but based on real characters, or at least one real character. I'm not sure about the others. And Davis plays Ma Rainey. Now in the rehearsal room you have Levy, who's played by the wonderful and unfortunately late Chadwick Boseman. And he's the group's trumpeter, and he squabbles with his fellow musicians. We have pianist Toledo, played by Glyn Turman, who was in the movie Race, and people might know him from TV's House of Lies and Fargo, the TV show. There's bass player Slow Drag, who's played by Michael Potts. He was in TV's True Detective on 1 season. And the quartet's de facto leader, trombonist Cutler, played by Coleman Domingo. Now I'm actually warm. Who was in If Beale Street Could Talk, wonderful movie. Lee Daniels' The Butler, horrible movie. And TV's Fear the Walking Dead, which I've never seen. Not into zombies. Now, Levy, who's both talented and temperamental, wants to have a more prominent role in the group. Doing solos, I got like a piece of granola stuck in my throat. Doing solos instead of being just one of the nameless people who back up Ma. Now the others, I want to say like Levy, he believes that the time is coming when musicians it's the musicians and not the singers who will be the stars. And right now, at this point in time, it's the singers who are the stars. Now, the others will have nothing of that kind of talk, though. To them, Ma is and will always be the star. And that, in fact, Ma believes that, and she fiercely reinforces that belief when she finally does arrive. Now, many people, that's all I'll say about the story. Now, many people are calling this Boseman's greatest performance, and I'd have to agree. It was fabulous. It's also heartbreaking to see the actor so emaciated due to the cancer that was ravaging his body at the time. But even through his illness, he left nothing on the table. My colleagues and I debated whether Levy's a good guy or a bad guy. They thought he was a bad guy. I say he's a good guy who was deeply troubled for sure, and he lets his ambition and his hot-headedness get the better of him. I don't think he was a bad person, though. Bottom line is that he was correct, and we see that in the film's closing scene. That music was changing, and the musicians were becoming the stars. The Great Depression and World War II saw the rise of big bands in America where musicians like clarinetist Benny Goodman, trumpeter Louis Armstrong, and trombonist Tommy Dorsey and Glenn Miller, and I can throw out more examples, they became the stars. The singers were secondary. Now, as fabulous as Boseman is here, so is Davis. The real Ma Rainey weighed close to 300 pounds, and the 55-year-old actress reportedly put on weight. She got up to 200 pounds. I don't know how much she weighs normally, but 200's a lot. I can't imagine that she's even close to that in normal times. And so she put on weight to physically embody the late blues singer, and the rest was all fat suit. I didn't know this at the time. I'm watching the movie, going, okay, that's clearly a fat suit. I was looking, thinking, like, it was so well done that I thought maybe it's not all fat suit. Even I wasn't sure. I mean, it was really, really well done. Between that and the teeth prosthetics, like Ma Rainey had, like, I don't know if it was silver teeth or metal teeth, or like, she sort of looked like Jaws from the old Bond movie. I mean, she had a lot of dental work done, that like really bad dental work, and she had heavy eye makeup. The actress is barely recognizable under all that. Now, interestingly, for a film about a music legend, there's very little of Ma's music performed here. There's a couple of songs. Instead, Wilson focuses on Ma both as a band leader and as a black woman who must constantly fight for what is hers in a white man's world. And Ma's bisexuality is also briefly touched upon with the presence of her girl toy. Is it girl toy or toy girl? I was trying to think about what it is. Girl toy. You say boy toy, so I guess it's girl toy. Toy boy, boy toy, girl toy, toy girl. I don't know. Anyhow, it was the woman's name was Dussie Mae, and she's played by Taylor Page, who, like Ma, does what she needs to do to get ahead. Now, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom is available now on Netflix. I would say we can expect well-deserved Oscar wins. I'm calling wins now. I haven't even thought about who they'd be up against, but I think Davis and Boseman for sure will win it. Davis, quite possibly. And maybe even a nomination for the director, who was two-time Tony Award winner George C. Wolfe. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom is definitely one of my favorite films of the year. I was thinking, do I do the best of one of my favorite films of 2020 now, or do I do it at the end of February? Because this year, because of the pandemic, Oscar qualification goes to the end of February. So there's a lot of films that haven't even come out yet. So I decided I'm going to do my best of 2020 at the end of February, or beginning of March, after I've tried to see all the films. So that's it. But this is going to be on my list of 10 favorite films of the year. For sure. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. All right. Second film I want to talk about is The 40-Year-Old Version. Version. This one, amazing. This one actually might also be on my top 10. I didn't have trouble with my 10 this year. I might have to do more than 10. Now, this film, I say, you know what? This one really is just a delightful surprise. And I was, as I was watching this film, I'm going, how is that? I've never heard of this woman before. This the woman who starred, directed, produced, wrote. Her name is Radha Blank, Radha Blank, Blank. I didn't know who she was. Now, to be fair to her. She wrote and produced a few episodes of TV's She's Gotta Have It, which I've never seen, and she wrote one episode of TV's Empire, which I've also never seen, that probably explains why I've never heard of her. But I think we're all going to be hearing a lot more from Radha Blank following this film. Now, not to be confused with the 2005 film that put Steve Carell on everyone's radar, though the similarity in titles is intentional cultural appropriation. The 40-year-old version tells the story of a heightened version of Blank. I think what I'll do is I'll call her Radha. I'll call the character Radha, and I'll call the real person Blank, just so that you don't get confused, or I don't get confused. So it tells the story of Radha, who was a once promising New York playwright whose career has stalled. And approaching her 40th birthday and teaching drama at an inner city school to make ends meet, she finds her true voice as a rapper. And joining her on this bumpy journey of self-discovery is her put-upon gay Korean-American agent Archie, played by Peter Kim, who had, here's some advice, don't eat granola before you do these things. Peter Kim had a small part in the Sex and the City movie. Otherwise, I've never seen him before. And he also happens to be her best friend from high school. There's also her patronizing theater producer, Josh Whitman, played by Tony Award winner Reed Birney, and her hip-hop beats guy, who goes by the name of D, the letter D, who's played by first-time actor Oswin Benjamin. And I've actually seen an interview with him. He's a riot. Now, in her feature directorial debut, Blank nails it. She gives audiences a thoroughly entertaining ride into the mind and life of a single black woman who's facing a midlife crisis. You know, how many times have we seen midlife crises by white men? I can only think of one other time where we've seen a midlife crisis by a black woman, and that wasn't even a good movie. I won't mention it, but you can imagine, you probably know what it is, because I think it was a very popular movie. Now, both Radha, the character, and Blank, the real person, show us that even a 40-year-old black woman has something important to say. Now, Blank has clearly put a lot of thought into the making of this film. The 40-year-old version is shot on 35mm black and white film stock, and Blank uses her characters to provide the images shading and texture. One of those characters is New York, which is seen in a style that is reminiscent of work done by Spike Lee or Woody Allen. New York is a character in this movie. Though Blank's love letter to her city is still her. It's hers. It's unique. It's, you don't watch it and go, oh, that's Spike Lee or that's Woody Allen. This is definitely, it's her take on New York City. It's the writing, though, where Blank really excels. All of her characters are thoroughly fleshed out, even the minor ones, like the two female, I call them Statler and Waldorf, if you remember the Muppets, the two old men who were always seen on the side being grouchy. So she's got these two female Statler and Waldorf type characters. I don't think we hear what they say, but we can imagine that they would be saying stuff like Statler and Waldorf would have said. We don't know their names, but we've seen people like this at cocktail parties and other well-heeled social events around town. No matter which town you live in, there's people like these two women. Now it's not just white folk who think that they are woke, that Blank pokes fun at. She's an equal opportunity slayer, taking well-aimed swipes at young African Americans who think that by stringing a few rhyming words together, they can be the next Kendrick Lamar or Lil' Kim. Often, Radha just gives a stink-eye look. I love it. She does a wonderful stink-eye look. It rivals Michelle Obama's, and it's enough to tell us what both women are thinking. Both Radha and Blank are thinking, and it's very, very funny. Now, the 40-year-old version is also available on Netflix, and it's also one of the best films I've seen this year. This was a delightful surprise, and I look forward to seeing what Radha Blank is going to do next. It was really good. So check it out. 40-year-old version, Version. All right. The last film I want to talk about before I lose my voice completely, hold on, is Wolfwalkers. Now, as I said, with so many high-profile films hitting the streaming services, it's easy to miss out on some real gems that aren't going to get the Hollywood studio marketing machine treatment. And one of those gems is Wolfwalkers from Ireland. This animated film offers a timeless story combined with captivating visual images that the whole family can enjoy. Now, the story takes place in 1650, and the male residents of Kilkenny, Ireland, are cleaning the neighborhood forest for farming. Now, a pack of wolves, however, isn't about to give up their habitat so easily, and the men regularly fall under attack. Now, Englishman and widowed father Bill Goodfellow, who's voiced by Sean Bean. Everybody knows Sean Bean, right? He was Ned Stark in Game of Thrones. But he was also in Lord of the Rings and lots of other things. He's been hired to rid the forest of all the wolves, and he goes out every morning, leaving his young daughter Robin, who's voiced by a young woman by the name of Honor Neefsey. I think that's how you pronounce her name, Neefsey. Or Kneefsey, I don't know. Don't know who she is. But he leaves his young daughter Robin at home, alone all day to keep their house in order. Now, Robin fancies herself a wolf slayer as well. And while her father's out, she goes into the woods to hunt the animals, bringing along Merlin, her pet falcon. And it's on her first real encounter with wolves that she meets the feral. Now I'm going to screw this up because it's in Gaelic. I think they pronounce the name Maeve. Not Maeve? I think you pronounce it Maeve. It's M-E-B-H. I think it's Maeve. Omectir. Maeve Omectir. I think that's how you pronounce her name. It's not spelled anything like that. But anyhow, it's voiced by a young woman by the name of Eva Whittaker. And Maeve is a young girl who lives in the forest with the canines. Now, when Maeve is awake, she's a regular girl. But when she sleeps, she turns into a wolf. And both she and her mother are two of these mythical wolfwalkers. Now, Maeve tells Robin that Maeve's mother went missing while she was in her wolf state. So together the girls search for Maeve's mother while ensuring that the wolves stay safe from Bill's crossbow arrows. Now, Bill and the Lord Protector, though, and they aren't about to let their mission be thwarted by a mischievous young girl. And that's what the movie's about. Oh, this is killing me. Now, this is really a wonderful film. I couldn't stop smiling throughout. And the last time I felt that way about a film was when I saw Sing Street a couple years ago. Maybe I'm Irish. I don't know. This was such a delightful film. The story is well-paced for all ages to enjoy, although I gotta say, the first few minutes before you get to really know the story about the wolves, I think maybe like real young viewers might find it a little scary. But, I think, after about 7 or 8 years old, you're fine. But maybe like little 3-year-olds might find it a little scary in the beginning. It's the hand-drawn animation, though, that really takes this film to another level. The forest scenes are delightfully ornate and textured, with dazzling colors and shapes filling every inch of the screen. Now, who wouldn't want to live in a forest when it looks like that? Now, the village, meanwhile, is very interesting, is presented as drab, gray, and flat. So, the forest really is a wonderful place. Now, of course, being 2020, that it is, the film, or I guess now it's 2021, the film has plenty of teachable moments, including Puritanism. If you don't know what Puritanism is, you're going to find out in this movie. Patriarchal authority, gender roles, and being friendly to those who are different from us. But the biggest of all is the notion that we are all just one giant ecosystem, and when we find a way to coexist with our animal neighbors, we are all the better for it. So this was, of course, with Soul out now, that's getting a lot of hype because of the animation. And I don't want to take anything away from Pixar because their animation really is top notch. But this was wonderful. This is Wolfwalkers, and it's only available on Apple TV Plus, unfortunately, right now. So if you don't have Apple TV Plus, you have to find another way to watch it. I'm not going to, encourage people to do things illegally, but I know it does happen. So Wolfwalkers, highly, highly, highly recommended for the whole family. that's it. That's all I'm going to talk about today. As I said, there's lots of films that I've been watching and reviewing, and you can read about them on my website, howard4film.com, howardforfilm.com, or on my Facebook page, Howard4Film, or you can watch my movie reviews here on YouTube, on my Howard4Film YouTube channel. That's it. Be well. Stay safe. If the vaccine is offered to you, please take it. I'm probably not going to get my shot until July. I got to wait. But, you know, it is what it is. Be well. See ya.